Hello all, welcome to today's class. And I'm Sushma D, your tutor working as Assistant Professor of English at GFGC Shira. Today we shall continue discussing a wonderful piece by William Shakespeare entitled All the World is a Stage. Before moving on, let us have a quick recap of the previous class. All the World is a Stage is written by William Shakespeare. His period is 1564 to 1616. He is a renowned English poet, a dramatist, and an actor. He is also considered as the national poet in England. His plays still remain highly popular today and is still being performed, studied and reinterpreted. His exact birth date is unknown. He was baptized in 1564 and thus it is believed that he was born on April 23rd, 1564 at Stratford-upon-Avon as the eldest son of John Shakespeare, who is a leather trader. He did not go to university to pursue education. He probably attended the grammar school in Stratford, where he would have studied Latin and read classical literature. He began writing at an early age and established a reputation for himself by acting and writing plays. His early works include the two long poems Venus and Adonis, published in 1593, and The Rape of Lucrece, published in 1594. His works consist of about 38 plays, 154 sonnets, some long narrative poems and other verses. He died in Stratford-upon-Avon on 23rd April 1616 at the age of 52. About the poem. All the World is a Stage is an extract from Act 2, Scene 7 of Shakespeare's play As You Like It. The speech is spoken by the character Jacks. The poem begins with the phrase, all the world is a stage, which is very famous all over the world. And coming to the form of the poem, it is a dramatic monologue. In this poem, Shakespeare discusses the futility of humanity's place in this world. He explores the themes of time, aging, memory, and the purpose of life. Through the poem's central conceit that everyone is simply a player in a larger game that they have no control over, he brings the theme together. Shakespeare compares life to a stage and takes the reader through the stages of life, starting with infancy and childhood and ending up with an old man who is being a lover, a soldier and a judge. The man dies after reverting back to a stage that is close to childhood and infancy. In order to establish this theme, the poet uses the following literary devices: simile, metaphor and repetition. We had also discussed the first part of the poem in the previous class. All the world is a stage and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. At first, the infant mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, then the whining schoolboy with a satchel and shining morning face, creeping like a snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. So till there we have discussed in the previous class. In the first lines of the poem, the speaker Jacques begins with the famed lines that later came to denote this entire speech. He declares that all the world is a stage and the people living in it are merely players. This sets up what is one of the most skilled conceits in all of English literature. Every person, no matter who they are, where they were born, or what they want to do with their lives, wakes up every day with a role. They enter, they exit just like performers. Before the listener starts to get concerned about the role they have to play, Jacques adds that a man or a woman plays many different parts in their lives as an actor does. Whoever the actor may be on the stage is not only Jacques, he is also many other characters throughout his career. It is in the fifth line of the monologue that Shakespeare brings in a slightly more complex concept, that of the 7 ages of humankind. Every man during his lifetime plays many parts. These parts are referred to 7 ages in the poem. And these ages are actually compared to the acts of the play. Thus, the poet says that the world is a stage wherein men and women are mere actors. Birth and death is referred to as exits and entrances onto the stage. Man plays many roles in these 7 acts. His first act is that of an infant, making soft tender noises and vomiting as a child is nursed by the mother. So this is the infancy stage. The second act is that of a school-going boy who complains and shows his reluctance to go to school. With a shining morning face, he walks to school in snail's pace with his school bag hung over his shoulders. And this is the second stage of human beings, that is childhood. His third act represents youth, wherein he undergoes both physical and emotional changes. He is passionate about love matters and craves for lady love. He sighs like a furnace when he remembers his mistress's beauty, his mistress's eyebrow, and starts to compose woeful ballads on the beauty of his mistress. His sighing like furnace exhibits the extremity of his emotions. He is much affected by love and desires to win his lady love. And this stage is referred as youth. So we have discussed all these 3 stages in our previous class. That is, the first stage is infancy stage, and what does he do in that particular age? And the second one is childhood. What does he do in that particular stage? And the third age is youth. And what he does in that particular stage. We discussed all of these aspects in the previous class. Let us move further. Then a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. The fourth stage is adulthood. This stage of life differs from that of his previous one. Now, he is grown up and he is a soldier where life is full of responsibilities, swearings, oaths, and obligations. So his thoughts always revolve around the country and the countrymen, and he is so hot tempered and fights over a trifle. The soldier's beard is the spots akin to leopard. So an excellent comparison is made over here. Just like the parts leopard, the soldier's beard is not actually fully grown. It actually justifies his nature and passion, which is so hot. His main objective is to gain reputation and recognition. So, to attain this bubble reputation, he is even ready to sacrifice his life in the mouth of cannon. Cannon means gun. Okay, even he is ready to sacrifice his life in the mouth of a gun to seek the honor, which is an empty bubble, because he is jealous in the honor of the others and he too wanted to gain that honor in his life. This is the fourth stage of human beings. And then the justice, in fair round belly, with good capon line, with eyes severe and beard of a formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances. So the next stage is referred as judge. So in this particular stage, he is full of intellectuality acquired through his life's experiences. He is portrayed with a big fat belly and compared with a fat chicken, which means he is leading a very profound life. Just like a fat chicken, he is leading a very profound life, and along with it, his greediness for money is on the rise. That is also very important. And his beard is now of a formal cut. He has neatly trimmed his beard to look pleasing to the others, and he always presents himself higher in the social status when he uses proverbs and sayings with reference to modern instances. So this is the fifth stage of human beings, that is judge. The sixth age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turning again toward childish treble, pipes, and whistles in his sound. The sixth stage is a pantaloon. Pantaloon means a funny old man. So he becomes very thin and weak. One could see a sort of decline in his physique in this particular stage. His skin becomes loose with the pouch on his sides. One could notice wrinkles in his skin. His eyesight also gets weaker. The unused and saved dresses does not fit him. He stays at home and he is unable to move. His grave voices has now reduced into sounds of pipes and whistles, sounding more like a child. And everybody would make fun of such a man in this particular state. Okay. Last scene of all that ends this strange eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion, sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. So the last stage is a mere oblivion stage. This is the old age, where one is going to exit from life through this stage. That last stage of human beings ends with a memory of long eventful history. A person at this stage has affinity to childhood. Just like a child, a person is actually devoid of memory, teeth, eyes, taste, and everything. So in the last line of the poem, the poet has used the term sans. Sans is a French term which means without. So in the last stage of each and every human beings, without teeth, without eyesight, without taste, and without everything, one is going to pass out of this particular life, and thus he calls it as the second childishness. This age is referred as second childishness. So this would end the entire poem. In this particular poem, Shakespeare has depicted 7 ages of human beings, where each and every human being enact in all these ages as an actor in the world of a stage. So the 7 ages are infancy, childhood, youth, adult, judge, pantaloon, and old age. Macbeth says nearly something identical to Jack's speech when he learned that his wife is dead. Life is but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. So we could say that man keeps on losing quality and blessing while qualifying for another. So life is worthless if it is just led by observation. It becomes nothing more than a shadow. Thus, spend life bravely and eagerly. I hope that you have understood the essence of the poem to the fullest core. Thank you, one and all.